Over 100 people have lost their lives in the deadly terror attack yesterday in Kabul, and since then, multiple theories have been floated about who was responsible. Immediately, the blame was sought to be pinned on the ISIS Khorasan. But is this to give plausible deniability to the real puppeteer behind the scenes, Pakistan and the ISI? Joining us on the debate today are Prajita Sarangi, MP and National Spokesperson of the BJP, Ashok Sajjanhar, former diplomat, Lieutenant General Gurmeet Singh, former Deputy Chief of Army Staff, Abdul Samad Yaqoob, spokesperson of Pakistan's ruling party, the Tehreek-e-Insaf Pakistan, Omar Altaf, journalist, is also joining us from Pakistan. Mr. Sajjanhar, I want to first start by asking you, because there are a lot of theories now doing the rounds. Do you buy the one which says that there is this ISIS Khorasan which has decided to challenge Taliban and America, and for that it is now this independent terror force acting in Afghanistan?
I would tend to go along with that particular theory because, you recall that even President Joe Biden, when he was speaking about this, he said that Taliban and Islamic State Khorasan province, they are sworn enemies. And I think the history also tends to prove that although in terms of the ideology it might be the same, but what ISKP thinks is that the Taliban has abandoned global Islam and that they have embraced Afghan nationalism. And what the ideology and the philosophy of Islamic State Khorasan is that we should establish a caliphate and also, which should extend all over the Khorasan province as it existed. It will cover the whole of Pakistan, parts of India, Gujarat, Haryana, etc., Iran, Central Asia, and even parts of China. This is the idea, this is the dream that ISKP has. And I think it wanted to sort of, in my view, it wanted to come out and show that it is still strong and powerful. You would recall that some time ago, President Trump had dropped what he called the mother of all bombs on ISKP stronghold in Nangarhar in East Afghanistan. And then it was thought that it had been considerably degraded, got degraded by that. But now I think it wanted to come out and wanted to display that it is still very strong, it's still powerful, that although Taliban had all these, layers, the 5 or 6 layers of security, it was able to get its bombers out there, and notwithstanding the American security also, it was able to, carry out this blast, which was so deadly.
Okay.
I think by this, what it really sought to achieve was, of course, challenge Taliban, challenge America, and so on and so forth. But most of all, display its own power, its own strength, that it is still a force to be counted. And so, along with that, so that it could get more recruits, it could get more funding, which would, because, the more deadly it is seen to be, the more recruits come to it. I mean, this has been the experience from 2015 when it came here, after it was thrown out by Russia from Iraq and Syria. So here they had seen that, some fighters from the Taliban had joined it. And that is why Taliban is also mortally opposed to the ISKP.
But is it possible, General Singh, for ISIS alone to carry out this attack without the tacit backing of the ISI?
That's a very fine question, Padmaja, I must say. Firstly, let's see in the current environment. There are 13 terrorist organizations which have participated along with the Taliban in the Taliban offensive. So they were one group, one team when they went in for 11-day offensive. And now, if you analyze Kabul per se, you find that there's a overall control of Taliban, but specifically as far as the security of Kabul is concerned, Haqqani network reps or their leader was in charge for this. But at the same time, there are sleeper agents of IS Khorasan which has executed this. In fact, from the modus operandi and the branding of what has been done, it looks quite that they are the one who done it. But one aspect is very clear, that behind all three of them, that is IS Khorasan Pakistan, Haqqani network and Taliban, the master link is with the Pakistan ISI. In fact, that is what is more important. In fact, that is what the world is not able to understand. In fact, especially America, having spent 20 years there, they never understood that behind all that is happening in Afghanistan, behind all that terrorism and radicalization, fundamentalism, extremism, is Pakistan, that center of gravity. And this particular one, it seems it is a handiwork of that. But at the same time, if you go from the local knowledge, the deep local knowledge, and you go by what the former Vice President of Afghanistan has told, he said they're all one into it.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. It's very difficult to say that they are playing games with them. But at the same time, after the Taliban offensive, I think they want to claim more booty of or the advantages or the impact of it. Their own domain of terrorism, they want to claim more. And actually, if you analyze the previous acts by IS Khorasan, you find that the content of, I would say, extremism,
Yes.
the fundamentalism, if you analyze the hospital in which, in the Kabul, they had targeted 20 pregnant ladies were targeted by them. They targeted the Gurdwara Sahib in Kabul. And in fact, their modus of fidahin, their modus of doing car bomb attacks, this is, I would say, branding of this one. And
So more
only
than the
difference between them,
ISIS, Mr. Omar Altaf, it has ISI written all over it.
It has ISS written all over it, not ISI. I think you've just added an extra S into it. How is ISI linked to ISIS? This is a new one for me. Please explain it to me.
General Singh, how is ISI linked to ISIS?
I think let's first talk without the scope and the look of deniability, lies and propaganda. Let's look at last decades and decades what you've been doing. In fact, let me go into details of it now that you asked me. The IS
So
Khorasan,
India
they
now
start
has found
listen to me. Now you have asked it. Please,
a new organization.
humbly, please listen to me. I will tell you what you asked. See, it was raised in 2014. It was raised by TTP reps. Only thing is that they gone for a different scope. They wanted to have more area under their control. Then 2015 is what they've identified this one. There are about 2,000 in the entire Afghanistan. There were 200 who are the sleeper agents in the area of Kabul. And they are all under the control of ISI. There is no doubt. In fact, you know, the deniability that you, I think, inherited as a state policy that you're trying to give Taliban at this moment to say that they were not aware about it. Look, your game of proxy, lie, deniability, I think it is high time that you start really looking at the reverse which is coming onto you because of your state policies in which you supported the terror, radicalization, and the way you've been going about.
Okay, now answer. Omar Altaf.
That still doesn't answer. That still doesn't answer my question, I'm afraid. That, like, you accuse Pakistan of patronizing Taliban. Now you accuse Pakistan of patronizing and sponsoring ISIS. This is just absolutely hogwash. I think, who are you trying to fool? The Indian people or who?
Okay,
Or
so
what case are you trying to build? What case are you trying to build? Like, no one's accusing. It's only India who has been absolutely rattled over the last 10 days since August 15.
actually, the president of Afghanistan is pretty much naming Pakistan as well. Amrullah Saleh very clearly has also said every evidence we have in hand shows that IS Khorasan cells have their roots in Talibs and Haqqani network, particularly the ones operating in Kabul. Talib denying links with ISIS is identical, similar to denial of Pak on Quetta Shura. Talibs have learnt very well from their master. So Indians may be rattled, but then Amrullah Saleh has no reason.
This is absolutely preposterous. We accept that we had links to Taliban, and we still do. To a certain extent, Taliban, you can accuse Pakistan of maybe sponsoring Taliban in the past and maybe having some links. But ISIS, this is absolutely bonkers.
Okay, it's charitable of you to at least admit your links with the Taliban.
Like, I don't want to signify this.
But you draw the line. You draw the line at ISIS. You're like, Taliban is okay now that they are in government, but ISIS is not acceptable.
No, I'm not saying
that's the red line for you.
But our
Tariq Fateh.
establishment had links with Taliban.
The difference between ISIS.
Our establishment had links with Taliban.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tariq Fateh.
The difference between Taliban and all the other Islamist groups is like saying Diet Coke and Coke Zero. It's the same brand. You just color it different. You fool customers and you market your product. Your ultimate agenda of Pakistan is Ghazwa-e-Hind. That's why you call Nasrun Minallahi Fathun Kareeb. You declare yourself as those who will eliminate all governance on earth other than an Islamic
That has nothing to do with Ghazwa-e-Hind. I don't know where you're pulling your facts from.
No, let me tell the facts. I have seen enough of the chicanery that has been going on.
Facts out of thin air, it seems.
Okay, please, let's not have heckling. Let's speak one at a time. Tariq Fateh, yes.
Fact that the Durand line stands and Pakistanis pay complete servitude to the British who created that line and refuse to do anything to do with reality and say that Pashtuns should be divided not because one set of Pashtuns are Hindu and the other are Muslim. No, because they are the same. And you divide them and tell them that this side of the border is Pakistan and you stay on the other side. What idiocy is this? This is not Bengal being divided into East and West because Hindu and Muslim. This is your expansionist idea that the Pashtun is fundamentally an uncultured person, a person who is a Kabuliwala, and that you will degenerate into it, denigrate them, and use them as a gun fodder. It has backfired on you. You cannot employ arm in your own country. 400 men throw a naked girl in the air and celebrate Pakistan Independence Day, and you have the audacity to come here and lecture as to who is responsible for what? You name me one country on earth that allows that to happen. I hope the other guests are aware how Pakistan Day was celebrated in Lahore.
Yes.
They picked up a woman, stripped her naked, put her in the air.
I think you cannot cite
and come here to lecture us about
and get away with it. Like, I don't want to point out what goes on.
Okay, let's please restrict ourselves to the issue. Yes, please, let's not get into this. Let's not get into this. Please, I'm requesting you, please, let's not get into this heckling. Just answer the fact, Mr. Abdul Samad Yaqoob, that you've had the former US chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mike Mullen, also saying that a veritable arm of the Pakistan's ISI is the Haqqani network. And you've got linkages which have been pointed out time and again. Now there may be an effort to distance, to get that plausible deniability, but the linkages are all but clear. That if there is a terror attack, there is a Pakistan hand behind it.
First of all, the Mike Mullen nowadays is the person who is being most criticized in USA nowadays. Secondly, when you blame each and every terrorist
act or whatever happened, you blame ISI. When you blame ISI, you lose the credibility. I mean, it is discredited when you put everything on ISI. At least in this regard, I must appreciate Tariq Fateh Sahab that he make a little balance despite of his all biasness. He at least named the America. He blamed the CIA. He's not like other panelists who only accuse ISI. Now, tell me, the over Major General retired Faisal Alvi was killed. GHQ was attacked. We have lost 70,000. I mean, we are the one who suffered the most, not India. I mean, India, we have lost 70,000. You had not lost even the 700. So we are among those few countries, top 3 countries, who suffered from the terrorism. Now, blaming everything on Pakistan or ISI is not fair. I mean, let's be fair enough. I mean, at least now 28 members of Taliban killed last night. So who to blame? ISI? I mean, this is a strange that ISI is killing Talibans.
Okay.
On the other hand,
Tariq Fateh, don't use every terror attack to settle scores.
No, it's not a question of that. It's to understand the fundamental motive of the worldwide Islamic movement and the American hand in building it up. These very mujahideen were entertained by President Reagan and called freedom fighters when they were being used to undermine the Soviet Union. The genie is out of the bag. You cannot control this once you manipulate foreign affairs in a way. I have credible knowledge from inside the palace that it was the Americans who occupied the Kabul presidency and they handed it over to the Taliban. I might not have the motives of what happened, but this was done in Doha, and it was done with the Afghan government not being allowed to be present there. The same Imam Baradar became released from Pakistan prison and became a Qatari citizen. Too many things have happened with Khalilzadeh, the Zalmay Khalilzadeh, who's the American Afghan, who has played the dirtiest role in this, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of money changes hands in these things. You go in, you hand over your own allies directly to the Taliban, and then you turn around, Mr. Biden says, oh, we will, they changed the goalpost by now saying how many people extricate from Afghanistan, that is the goalpost. No, you destroyed a country in your hands. You were coward, you ran away when the real fight came, and all this nonsense about trillions being spent in Afghanistan. No, ma'am, these were money given to contractors by the Americans who never allowed the Afghans to train on their aircraft. So all aircraft went dead the moment they escaped from there.
Okay, Mr. Sajjanhar, I also want to ask you, as a diplomat, as a former diplomat, do you think that it is too soon to be blaming Pakistan for engineering the Kabul attack?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. You see, because it is the Rawalpindi General Headquarters which is involved basically in all the terrorist groups that have been operating in Afghanistan and that have come there. They have some link or the other with the ISI, and ISI has links with each and every one of those groups. As far as Taliban are concerned, we know how the...
but Omar Altaf is saying, show him the links. He's saying this is in the realm of conjecture. Where is the evidence? What is the possible linkage? Taliban died in yesterday's attack. Why would Pakistan kill the Taliban?
No.
You see, evidence will be seen by those who have an open mind. Those who are, denying everything and will not accept anything. All the evidence. This is like in 26/11, what happened? Ajmal Kasab came. We gave all the evidence to Pakistan. Pakistan said, no, not enough evidence. In Pathankot attack, we gave all the evidence. So, any court would accept that evidence as incriminating and evidence against, the people who had perpetrated. But Pakistan will not accept, and this is the way here also. Meaning Jaish-e-Mohammed, Lashkar-e-Taiba, these are the ones who are acting there, whether it is Al-Qaeda, they have all received support. Taliban is a baby of the ISI. The others might not be, in that sense, a baby. Let's say this Islamic State, Khorasan province, that was established in 2014-15 after they were kicked out from Iraq and Syria by the Russians. They came here, they took over some of the members of the Taliban who did not like the comparatively mellow and milder ways. And that is how they came to Islamic State. Please, and that is how it has prospered. It lost much of its strength. But right now,
let Omar Altaf respond to that. Omar Altaf.
Has Pakistan been provided any evidence linking the ISI to the Kabul attack?
You will be eventually. Will you accept it?
Yeah. It just happened yesterday.
I think you can hope for it, but I don't think so. It has happened or it will happen. I think as far as foreign policy is concerned, Modi's India is in bed with the USA. I think you should probably ask your US partners to actually give some evidence to Pakistan because a lot of US soldiers have been killed in the attack. I think US would take the killing of their soldiers very seriously.
So I think maybe India should ask US what it needs to do. I don't think we need to advise the United States. I don't think you need to advise. What the United States has said is, we will never forgive, we will never forget. And at the time of their choosing and at the place of their choosing, they will take the revenge from all those who have perpetrated. They will be made to pay for what they have done. So, they don't need my advice or your advice.
You're talking about the United States saying that we will hunt you down. But then again, Aprajita Sarangi, American President Joe Biden, chose to specifically name only the ISIS Khorasan. Is the government of India in a position or thinking of highlighting that it doesn't stop with this one fragmented terror organization? The bigger master puppeteer, as it were, is India going to bring that issue up, that of Pakistan?
At this juncture, Padmaja, I think I need to make our stand extremely clear. As the spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party, I can only say that our tasks are cut out. The Indian government at this juncture knows what to do. We have adopted a very clear-cut two-pronged approach. Number one, we are concentrating on getting our people back. We are concentrating on getting all the Afghan Hindus and Sikhs back who are willing to come with all safety and security measures. And you are aware of the fact that 565 people have already been brought back. And it is estimated that around 500 people are there. Many of them would like to come back. So you are aware of the fact that Operation Devi Shakti is on. 6 flights are running day in and day out. And I'm reminded of the biblical saying, Lord, I do not want to see the distant scene. One step is enough for me. So we are now concentrating on that one step. And that one step is getting people back safely with full security measures.
Right now your priority remains evacuation, but eventually
we are looking at.
Eventually, are you going to bring up the issue in the interest of India's security?
We are looking at the entire situation, monitoring very closely. We are waiting and watching, and you are aware of the fact that that Mr. Jaishankar has briefed the floor leaders in the parliament 2 days back, and we are monitoring the situation. We will take a view on all the activities that are going on in the region and our viewpoint and our take on that and our approach towards it in the days to come. It would be premature on my part. As a
it would be premature on your part. Tariq Fateh, final word.
I think there is a lot to come forward about this attack. We cannot say for sure who does what to whom, because as I said earlier, Diet Coke and Coke Zero are the same product. The issue for any difference between the jihadi groups is the methodology and the severity of how they attack and kill who they determine to be non-Muslims or people who are opposed to them. Amrullah Saleh and his group of people in the Panjshir Valley will determine the future of this country. Trust me, this is just the first round. And as far as Pakistan is concerned, trust me, the Prime Minister might not know what the ISI does. The ISI doesn't know what the MI does. And this is the tragedy of that country, that you have parallel ruling bodies. The martial law is different. The civilian parliament is different. And that is why nothing comes out except for a group of people who run the country at the cost of its citizens. As far as evidence is concerned, a lot of evidence is there that it was Pakistani generals making fertilizer factories that produced the bombs that killed the most Americans in Afghanistan. And that general happened to be an American citizen. He was living in the US.
So that is what happens to Pakistan is none of our concern. What is important for us at this point is to ensure that we don't lose sight of the larger picture and know who our real enemy is, who wants to keep India unstable at this point. Thanks very much, all gentlemen, for having joined me.